We'll start with Sid.
All right. Hey, Mac. I just wanted to ask, who would you give your props to, or what play of the game stands out and you want to give your props to?
Um, it's not easy being the only big on the team in a type of situation, especially type of game like that. So I want to give it to Steph. I thought she gave everything that she had for us, whether it was rebounding or just being physical, being present, being like experience. Like you could just feel it out there, and that's what vets do, you know. And I've always been a we've played against each other in college and you watch somebody's career, but you never really get to know how valuable players are until you're like on their team. And I thought Steph stepped up for us really, really big today. And she was our golden lace as well. So I want to give my props to her.
Sure, thank you.
Go to Safid.
Hey, Safadine, USA Today. Kayla, I have to ask you about the comment you made before sitting down. It didn't feel like you played 19 minutes. You said, did it feel like you
No,
played more?
it
How
feels
did,
like I played more. I tell people all the time, like, they're like, oh, you're in your 30s. I'm like, no. 30 and 32 are not the same. And when I was 30, I could get up and like do it. It takes time. I'm in the sauna every day. But I love to compete. So, 18 minutes. I mean, there's only 21 minutes technically in the game, and then it's just free for all. So, but whatever it takes to win. But seeing this, and then normally you're playing a 40-minute game. Sometimes I'll see like 38, whatever, and it feels so different right now. So I don't know.
what is it that makes you feel different? Is it just the pace, the length of the
Just a
court?
lot of miles. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of miles in my body, but I just think the pace too. Like you can't take any possessions off. Not to say that you do in a 5-on-5, but sometimes there's a pick and roll with between two players. That's only four players. There's six other players on the court. Whereas if there's a pick and roll with only six players on the court, like you're always engaged in some fashion on both ends of the ball. And so it can be exhausting. It's taxing. So that's the name of the game. So I think a lot of us are going to be in shape come WNBA season for sure.
Coach, your star player is telling you she's playing too much. You gotta
No,
do
no,
a
no,
better
not
job
too
of the
much.
rotation.
No, not too
No,
much, not
just
too
kidding.
much, not
That's
too
not
No,
much.
true.
but how do
No,
you?
we could throw it up right now and I'll start
Right,
again.
Miles,
How,
ultimate competitor.
yeah, how do you navigate this as a coach trying to get players in rotations
Yeah.
and trying to see and figure out how their bodies are and how they're doing with the pace, even though the time doesn't really add up to how the fatigue is doing.
Just I'm really just constantly checking in with them, and I tell each one of them like I genuinely want to know how you're feeling. I'm not just asking just because. Like if you're not feeling well, we can scale it back that day. And so I try to be super intentional with practices, our optional time, just our time in general, right? Like I'm trying to limit their time on the feet because I know come tip off, especially tonight when we're playing with basically four, they're going to be giving it their all. And so it's just trying to find that right balance of making sure we go up and down, but also like scaling it back to where we're not doing too much.
Go to Alanis and then no.
Kayla, I wanted to ask about the fourth and when you're playing toward that target score, and maybe coach, you could speak to this too. As you're getting closer to reaching that score, what is the balance of kind of wanting to close out the game and handle business, but not abandoning fundamentals or continuing to execute as you had previously?
Yeah, it's a very different dynamic that I think a lot of us are used to, because we're used to like the structure, the flow of the game. And so I think with Elam ending, it's really like possession based, and you really have to. There's such a thing as momentum, and it's a little bit different in that fashion. So sometimes you'll take shots that maybe you wouldn't have taken throughout the whole entire game, because it's like possession based instead of flow based. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's very exciting. Like, and obviously, the free throws and then the offensive rebounds, like it's a little hectic and it can become sporadic. But I think the best thing to do is just continue to play to win. Because when it does slow down, like it can become like this thinking game where you still want to have your pace and be able to play like you were when the clock is running. It's such a strange thing, like how your brain does that when you don't see a clock. You feel like there's no like structure. So I think that's something that we're all figuring out. And really it's just about winning the game, like possession by possession. And I think it kind of goes back to the basics of it too, like drill kind of. It's like kind of like a drill. So I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. And like you think about come playoff time when those games matter or whatever, like it's gonna be really, really exciting. And it's crazy to be playing a game with a game winner every single time because it's not normal. So it's interesting, and I think all the teams are finding their way. And today, I think was our first time we were really tested in that way, besides in preseason, I would say. So yeah, we'll figure it out. We're all in this together.
I think it's different for me in the aspect like I'm used to having a clock and saying, okay, in 2 minutes 30 seconds I can get Mac back in the game, or in 3 minutes, right? I'm going to call timeout. There's no clock to measure that kind of stuff, and so it's all just feel and flow of the game, like Mac was saying, like possession by possession. I think we've learned too, like through our preseason experience, like we want to just play our style of basketball, offensively and defensively. But it's different, it's fun. Was definitely sweating at the end, but like the fan in me, enjoys that kind of atmosphere. It was loud in there, and it was a lot of fun to play in.
Yeah. Can we go Noah and then Erica? Yeah.
Coach, you mentioned you guys only had really 4 players. Do you have any timetable on Jackie and Alyssa, and just are you expecting them to rejoin be available soon?
Yeah, I would say so. They're both progressing pretty well.
And then from your standpoint, like when you're managing that, it's unusual. Like in a WNBA game, you're not gonna only have one person on the bench, right? How much more difficult is it to make substitution patterns or just kind of figure out, especially in a late game situation, when you literally only have like 1 or 2 options of what you can do?
I think, we spoke this weekend about, possibly playing with floor. And so we talked about different coverages or things that we can do defensively to try and save our legs a little bit. We got to some of that tonight. I think it's something we're going to look at on film and maybe use in the future when we have our full group too. But then it's also like trying to be strategic with my timeouts. And I called one in the fourth there, like after we'd gone down and back a couple of times. So a lot of it's just feel.
And then Kayla, for you, obviously, playing an Unrivaled was instead of doing something else this off season. How do you feel about that choice and just kind of how this month has panned out so far?
As somebody who's like really spent a lot of time overseas, I never really had those options. And now with something like this, when he mentioned it, it was just kind of like a no-brainer at this point in my career. Just getting rest, like I feel good out there and being able to work on my game in different aspects. Because when you go overseas, you're expected to just play like at least 40 minutes a game most of the time. And I really enjoyed my time with Fenerbahce. I was there 4 years. Like it's a really special place like in my heart, but it was just time for me to do something different, and Unraveled's been amazing. And I just think the opportunity to be able to play against the best, train with the best, and just be in the weight room, being around elite players, it makes you want to get better. And at this stage of my career, that's what I need. I needed that push. And so I'm just, I think it's been great so far, and I think it's a great decision for my career.
Coach, I wanted to come back to you with regard to having a player like Natisha Heidemann that is available in the instance that any given team really, I guess, has some injuries. What were some of the ways that you were able to integrate that, or I guess more so, what did that process look like between you and Heidemann?
It was pretty quick. Obviously with AT going down Friday night, we moved pretty quickly. Especially when we realized that we were going to be playing with 4. So that was just like I guess insurance. We talked as a group actually before the T thing went down, and we felt great. We were just rolling with our 4. These players have so much confidence and belief in themselves, and as a coaching staff, you just have to support that. And so we brought T in, I guess yesterday afternoon or this morning. Had her in shoot around, quickly went through the playbook, our defensive coverages, and then it was time to tip it up. She's a hooper. She's been around, so it was pretty quick for her to pick our concepts up. It wasn't a problem at all.
Just a few more regarding just how you manage roster. You talked about some players that are working their way back. Tip definitely saw the court a lot this game, between her and it looks like maybe Kate got a little banged up. How are they doing right now as far as
They're both good.
All right, fantastic. And then just more broadly speaking, maybe, obviously I'm going to ask you from the Laces perspective, but do you know if in the structure of Unrivaled, if you needed to, are there opportunities for you to pick up a different player if you need to down the road?
I'm not sure on that. That's something I can talk about with the Unrivaled higher ups, but for now we feel pretty good with our group.
Thank you.
Any other questions in the room? We'll wrap up with Kevin on Zoom then.
Thank you. And congratulations on the win, Coach and K-Mac. 4-0. how does it feel? And knowing that you have the Lunar Hours and the Wings coming up on Friday, what is your mindset coming in to the next game?
Well, first, rest a little bit. And then, obviously the Owls are also undefeated. So excited for that matchup. Just always excited to compete. I think, that's what we're here for. So looking forward to that. It's just an interesting dynamic, because two of my teammates are on that team, but my other teammates, they're not my teammates right now. But looking forward to that. And hopefully, just keep building on what we're doing. I think we have a great locker room atmosphere. Just great people in general. And so when you go into work with great people, great things happen. And I think that that's what we're about right now in our locker room, and it's working out in our benefit. So some rest, some work, and then back at it on Friday. So we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, and congratulations on the win again.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Cool.